Welcome back, Marvel Legends collectors and MCU fans. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Shang Chi Mr. Hyde Build-A-Figure Wave Death Dealer. So first things first, this is the last figure I need in the wave, personally, and he was a pain in the ass to find for me, along with Xian Ling. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Please correct me in the comments if you know the right pronunciation. But I was so stoked to find this guy. I drove literally an hour to a Walmart, and I had no idea if he'd be there, but I got lucky. He's there. Obviously, he was there. But he looks really good. The packaging looks good. Standard packaging, the same as the rest, basically. This one's a little bit different in the wave. You get two comic characters, that's MCU characters. But the rest of the Shang-Chi MCU characters have this exact packaging for the most part. Obviously, the name is different, and the imaging is different. You get some nice art on the back of Death Dealer, the rest of the figures in the wave. Barcode if you need it. Show that to an employee. Maybe they can scan it on their little Zebra device, whatever they use. But yeah, nice images of the characters, really cool art. On the back here, it just has a little read-up. It's very simple. Death Dealer is one of the most formidable opponents Shang-Chi has ever faced. So, he's obviously going to be a villain, pretty evil. I think he has something to do with Wenwu. Hope that's not a spoiler. Might be. But otherwise, it looks pretty badass, pretty typical. Let's take a look. Alright, so let's open this guy up. Try to be as careful as we can be. Slide that out. Boom. And there he is in all his glory. So bust out that right arm of Mr. Hyde. You can see it looks pretty great. Won't put too much time onto that. Get some throwing hands just like we had with Bullseye. And did we get that with another figure? Ooh, those knives are very flexy, so they're not going to break at all. And then we have Death Dealer. And he has some knives on the back too, so that's pretty dope. God, was this guy a pain in the ass to find. Oh my gosh. I'm a little disappointed he doesn't have the pinless tech, because he looks like he's kind of a new mold, unless I just don't have the figure he's based off of. But let me know in the comments below if he is a new mold. I can't tell. First I thought he might be the Skrull mold, because he has that kind of tunic thing going on where it just like goes over. I don't know what the fuck the tunic even is. I'm a dumbass. But it's not the same. Pretty obviously now I'm an airhead, but these ankle rockers seem kind of difficult to get to move. They're kind of snapping and popping. But for the most part, he looks pretty dope so far. So first off, we have these nice metallic open hands that look very badass. I really like them. They're proportioned very nice. Then I love both of these hands. This one's really cool, but I'm kind of used to it because we already saw it with Bullseye. So maybe it's a little underwhelming, which is sad. But it looks really dope. However, this kind of goes down a little bit, which is a bummer. But that's okay because it doesn't break. I know a lot of the NECA figures have very flimsy plastic on their accessories, and I kind of like the fact that this isn't going to break. My favorite hand, though, is this one. I love that. That's just so unique. It looks very dope. Like he's literally going to throw a knife. I just adore it. And it looks beautiful. The sculpting and everything. Look at all the little details in there. The metallics and the reds. And same with these two. These look just as great. So really, really cool hands. So this guy looks really freaking good. The metallic paints on him really stand out, as you can see, especially on the belt. Look how good that looks. And this little shirt underneath. I'd love if somebody could pop this thing off and show what's underneath. I think there's just an ab crunch, but I can't tell. It's kind of a softer plastic material, but I mean, it doesn't really hinder the legs. It looks kind of funky, to be honest, but I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this yet. But on the back side, it's also pretty flexible as well. And you can see that it's red underneath. It's got some real Cobra Spidey colors going on, so it's very cool. That's another thing about this guy. He has a really cool color scheme with the orange and the blue, then the reds underneath. It all looks very good. He really stands out, and I love that. But the big thing about this guy for me is those metallics look so dope. See nice hair coming out in a braid in the back. Then you can see here, the face looks very, very good. The eyes look wide, like these just like crazy, man. They just look really nicely sculpted. The face is very glossy as well. He has a painted face, obviously. I'm curious to see who's under the mask, but he looks very good overall. The sculpting work is very good. Would have been nice if the hinge here was silver, but not a huge complaint. That's very nitpicky on my part. On the back side, again, you see those knives. They look very, very nice. Very nice material here on the belt as well. You can see they've kind of a mesh thing going on. Looks very dope. But the knives really look beautiful on there. They could have just left them black or something, but they really went out of their way, and it looks solid. All the designs and patterns on this guy just look beautifully sculpted. The paint is really solid. A little bit of spottiness there, but nothing that really stands out that makes me, oh, this is crap. It looks fantastic. Very, very solid job, in my opinion. The legs are pretty bare, but we do have some red designs there, which are very nice. And again, nice material going throughout, so it looks very realistic in comparison to a lot of comic book characters. Looks very good. Overall, lots of designs, lots of patterns. Like I said, we do have pins in the legs. Would have been nice if that one was black, but that's okay. Not a big deal again. However, the pin is hidden by this little gauntlet armor piece there, so that's cool. But on the inside, not so much. Either way, the detail on this guy is literally just phenomenal. He's easily a standout figure in the wave for me, personally. So for the articulation, his head goes down. It looks like it's actually just on a hinge, a ball hinge. So that's pretty cool. That's kind of old school, which makes me, again, is he using an older body mold? I don't know. I haven't personally, I haven't bought a lot of MCU figures, so I don't know if he's using some older body mold we saw in an MCU figure, but from the figures I've owned, I don't recognize it, and it looks pretty new to me. But either way, the head looks pretty far down and very, very far back. The hair is kind of bendy, so it really doesn't hinder anything. However, this kind of folds a little bit, makes me nervous I might ruin it or something, or like bend it to the point where it's permanently indented, so I'm not going to have his head too far back all the time. Of course, there's a nice little tilt there in the head and a rotation, obviously. It doesn't look like there's any butterfly joints in there, but again, you see some more metallic underneath, which is cool. And I wonder if that's going to really guard him in the movie as well. Very neat. The arms do go up very far. If I can get that other one up. Looks pretty good. Goes down, obviously all the way around. Nice swivel at the bicep. Double jointed elbows. A lot of the typical articulation you expect to see. A horizontal hinge. I don't know if these ones have vertical hinges. Would have been nice if this one did, especially. But all the same hinge on all the hands. And obviously rotation as well. The inside this, it kind of seems like he has an ab crunch. That's what it seems like to me. And probably, obviously, a waist swivel there. But I don't know if there's a swivel in there or not or anything. But to me, it just seems like an ab crunch. The legs go pretty far out, even in spite of this swooping down. So that's pretty nice, but not crazy far out. They don't really go too far back because that butt is a harder plastic. But they do go far forward, of course. Double jointed knees as well. A swivel at the thigh. No cuts below the knee, which is fine. And then a hinge at the foot and an ankle pivot. But as I said when I was opening this guy, this ankle pivot kind of snaps and pops. And again, makes me nervous that it's going to break or something. Like, ugh, I don't like that. Ugh, not cool, dude. So I kind of like when it's a smoother movement personally, but you can see that this guy just, these hands, what is that blue on there? Oh my god, I didn't notice that. The fuck is that? You, man. Well, I don't know what the hell to do about that, but that looks pretty shit. That's some kind of factory shit that happened. I'm sure that's not going to be on everybody's. Oh, I should mention too, the fingers are softer plastic as well, which is pretty dope. And again, they look wonderful. But this guy just, with the hands and everything, I like these kind of relaxed hands, or like these posing hands, because they're open and they just make a character look a little more realistic and organic to me. But overall, this guy is really well proportioned and very, very well articulated. Here he is next to Wenwu and Shang Chi, and it looks like they're all about the same height, or roughly the same height. Shang Chi looks a little bit shorter than Dead Dealer, but it might just be because of the hair too. Maybe my eyes deceive me. But for the most part, the heights look pretty consistent amongst them. And I know these Hasbro figures are usually pretty consistent with the height of actors, I think, for the most part, especially recently. So, might be a good representation of what we see in the movie, but for the most part, they're about the same height. And here he is next to Deadpool and the Hugh Jackman Wolverine. And just because it's in line with the whole Kung Fu thing, here he is next to Snake Eyes and Arctic Mission, piece of poop, Storm Shadow. He's not terrible, but he has a very loose ab crunch, which is kind of freaking annoying. But you can see that Storm Shadow's about his height, a little bit taller, and Snake Eyes is just a little bit shorter. And I do want to mention, just posing this guy, the ankle hinges do feel a little bit loose when I pose him. So I don't know if it's just an issue with mine. Comment below if you have the same problem, but it's definitely kind of frustrating. So overall, I give this figure like a 9 out of 10, personally. I don't do rankings, but just my opinion. I think he's a pretty solid figure. I do think this piece here kind of hinders everything, but it's accurate to the movie. I don't know how else they would have done it, personally. So I like it. And the detailing on this guy is superb. The paintwork is really freaking good. And overall, it's just a really accurate representation of what we've seen in the trailer so far. He looks very badass. He has some cool accessories, and he rounds out your Mr. Hyde Build-A-Figure if you're a huge fan of Mr. Hyde, which I don't know who is. Let me know if you are. I personally don't know a whole ton about him, but very cool looking Build-A-Figure, I guess. Either way, this is a really, really solid figure for the Shang Chi wave, and he might be my favorite. I haven't decided yet. It's either him or Wen Wu. I really like both. But anyways, if you enjoyed this review, let me know down below by liking and subscribing. Make sure you comment, answer some of the questions I asked. Do you own this guy? What do you think of him? Is this a used body mold? I personally don't know. And do you know who Death Dealer is based off of from the comics? Is there a Death Dealer in the comic books? I have no idea. I haven't really read any Shang-Chi books. And I definitely want to start now that I've seen the trailer because it looks very badass. So thank you guys for watching this review of the Shang-Chi Death Dealer. Stay tuned for more reviews. Stay happy, stay healthy, keep hunting, and get vaccinated. Peace, guys.